Well, I mean, that sounds like a really great, fun job. What is a mixer? A lot of people wouldn't know what it is. Sound is always one of those elements in the film that people don't really take a lot of notice of. What is a mixer? What does sound do to a film? How important is it, other than the fact that we can hear stuff?
Okay, well, first of all, a mixer is a guy who alters and blends sounds. I think that's the best way to put it. For instance, let's take the Foley stage for example. A lot of people think that you just put a microphone out there and you just record whatever comes in and record. I mean, yes, you can do that. That's being a recordist. You're just simply recording what's coming through the chain. You're not altering it or doing anything to it. Now, what a mixer would do is he would change the color of the sound. He would adjust the level. He would manipulate the sound so that when it did get recorded, it was more to everybody's liking. Okay, so he would actually physically, do stuff to the sound. And I think, a mixer all along the way does that. In production these days, it's very, very popular to have multi-track recorders and just to put lavs on everybody and have your booms out there, but record everything to its own track and, and not worry about it and figure it out later in post. Well, yes, it's a little safer. It's a lot more work in post, of course. But the skill of being able to create a production track is being lost. And that's the skill of being able to combine the microphones that you have out there into a coherent track that the editor can cut, excuse me, and hopefully use in the final. Not have to go back and find all these little pieces and replace them. The track that you've made, the mix track that you've made on production is really good, and can be used in the final. So, the mixer kind of manipulates stuff to make it better for whoever's next in line.
Okay, now looking back at your career, other than the moment where you got fired and managed to get a 300% increase on your salary, what were the best and the worst moments in there?
Okay, I would have to say that one of the worst moments was when I was very young and early in the business, not even in sound. I was an assistant editor, and we had a dub time coming up for a commercial we were doing, and it was about 40 tracks deep. And I had to build these tracks and get them over to the stage like in a half an hour, and I was scrambling to do it. And I'm usually really organized, and in those days we used to use Lightstruck, which is actually picture film that's been exposed to daylight already. It's no good, but it has a shiny side and it has an emulsion side. And if you put the emulsion side against the heads of the film machines for the sound, it'll gum up the heads and it won't play. So you have to put the shiny side. There's a system where you have the shiny side against the head, and you have to build the track that way. Well, I was in such a hurry, and I had mislabeled one of my rolls of fill leader that I usually use. But I just grabbed it off the shelf and I went and boom, boom, and I'm running through this thing. The synchronizer's flying. Boom. I mean, I was really fast, right? So boom, I'd build the tracks and throw them in the car, drive on down to the stage, get them up, dump them at the machine room guys, go down and sit down behind the console and go, okay. So we go off on the first take. Okay, so we went off to take a listen to it, go through the countdown, hear the pop. Dialogue starts. Everything comes to a stop. The mixers start, call up to the machine room and say, "Boys, I thought we told you to clean the heads up there. Clean those heads." "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." So they reload everything and they clean the heads, and then do the same thing, and exactly the same thing happens. And so the mixer starts screaming at the machine room guys, if you guys can't fix this problem, we're going to get a whole new crew, blah, 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 blah. You know, and I'm sitting there going, man, I'm lucky. You know, I'm so glad that's not me. And, you know, they put it up again. It goes through the third time. Exactly the same thing happens. You know, the guys on the, you know, the whole machine, the whole system comes to a stop, and the guys upstairs say, sir, we cleaned the heads. It appears these tracks are leadered backwards. Boom. All eyes turn on me. And it's like, and what I had to do, Fritz, is that we had to shut the session down because they had somebody else coming in. We didn't have time for me to fix it. I had to go back and fix it, and we had to rebook the time, and I had to pay for the rebooked dubbing time.
Wow. How much was that?
It was a lot. It was 3 months' salary.
Fucking hell.
I was absolutely flabbergasted. I couldn't believe how this guy could do this to me. You know, it was just it was a simple mistake, and he stuck to his guns, and I was mad at him for, you know, 8 months at least. But you know what? It taught me such a valuable lesson. You know, you cannot screw up. You can't do it. If you're in a professional environment, you can't screw up.
Yeah.
You know, I learned to double and triple check everything I was doing, you know, from then on. In terms of the best, I had a really great time at Paramount. I moved to Paramount after I was at Disney, and Paramount was an absolute joy. We had a steady stream of all A pictures, and just a tremendous amount of very high quality work going through there. And it was, you know, we experimented with a lot of techniques. I pioneered a technique using a pitch shifter that I had built specially for me by Lexicon Company. Excuse me. And used it extensively in Ghost and both the Star Trek movies and Hunt for Red October especially. Got a lot of write-ups. Got a lot of write-ups on that for Hunt for Red October. And I think the best experience was
11 hours.
was doing Hunt for Red October and actually getting the Oscar for best sound effects. It was tremendous. Just a tremendous honor.
What does it feel like to get an Oscar? And what happens afterwards?
Now we come to the interesting part. You know, of course, it's for sound effects. It's a team Oscar. You've got a lot of people that are working on it, and the Oscar itself goes to the supervising sound editor, or in this case, editors. But the interesting thing is that for directors and for actors, it means that you can be a little more picky and choosy about your projects. For craftspeople, that's not really true. All it means is you have more work. More people want you. So if you're not working very much and you just happen to be on a picture that wins, then that's good news for you. Excuse me. I'm getting over a little cold here, so. But for me, I was already working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. The last thing I needed was more work. So it was kind of like I didn't know where else there was to go. You know, I'd achieved one of the greatest things I had ever wanted to achieve, and it was suddenly like I was at the top of this mountain, and it's a big plateau, and it's nothing but the same, you know, from here on out.